Profilocolore Conference Talk. Vision beyond vision, making surfaces measurable. Good morning, everyone. I want to start with a simple idea, one that sits at the heart of everything we do at Profilocolore. The human eye is a wonderful instrument, but it is not a measuring instrument. Two conservators can look at the same fresco and disagree about whether a patch of color has shifted in the last 5 years. Two quality inspectors can look at the same textile and disagree about whether a batch is within tolerance. Two agronomists can look at the same field and disagree about where the stress is beginning. Not because they aren't skilled, but because the eye is subjective, it fatigues, and it cannot be compared across time, across people, or across instruments. Profilocolore exists to close that gap. We are an engineering company based in Rome, active since 2010, and what we build, in one sentence, is this: we make surfaces measurable. An integrated chain, not a single device. When people hear imaging system, they often picture a camera. What we've learned, over more than a decade of fieldwork from manuscripts to museum walls to industrial production lines, is that a camera alone answers almost nothing. What matters is the chain. Optics. Illumination. Calibrated references. Acquisition. Calibration. Analysis. These have to work together, as one coherent system, or the numbers you get out the other end simply aren't trustworthy. That's the core of our engineering philosophy, an integrated measurement chain where the output isn't just a nice-looking image, it's color and spectral information that stays precisely linked to a location on the object. Not, the painting looks slightly different. Instead, this exact point, these exact wavelengths, this exact deviation. And critically, we don't start with the technology. We start with the question the image has to answer. The object, the evidence required, and the environment we're working in. A basilica, a factory floor, an open field determine the configuration, not the other way around. That's what we call application-led engineering, and it's the difference between a system that produces pretty pictures and one that produces evidence. From fragments to whole buildings. That chain scales in a way I think is genuinely distinctive. On the physical layer, we configure cameras, optics, illumination and filters around the object, and the object can be anything from a fragment of parchment to the facade of an entire building. On the measurement layer, we turn raw camera data into comparable color and spectral measurements, often directly in the field, battery operated, no lab required. And on the evidence layer, we keep every measurement linked to its position, so it can be compared, monitored, and reported on in a standard format. Standard data, to standard results, in a standard format. That consistency is what lets a measurement made today be meaningfully compared to one made in 5 years. One competence, for fields of value. We applied this single core competence, calibrated spectral and colorimetric imaging, across 4 fields. In cultural heritage, we map materials, interventions and condition, while preserving their exact position on the object. Differences that would be invisible, or at best anecdotal, to the naked eye become documented evidence. In industry and quality control, we measure color, reflectance and surface uniformity to support tolerance, uniformity and classification, turning "this batch looks fine" into a number you can defend. In precision agriculture, we turn spectral variation into spatial indicators of stress and change, giving specialists something concrete to interpret rather than a hunch about a discolored patch of crop. And in archives and library assets, we support high-fidelity digitization at scale, with documented image quality control, building consistent, trustworthy masters rather than one-off scans. Different domains. Same underlying discipline. What comes out the other end? So what do our clients actually walk away with? A calibrated image that preserves more than appearance. Pixel-level color values that support documentation and controlled comparison. UV-vis NIR spectral reflectance that supports differentiation and targeted investigation. We typically work with 24 or more spectral bands from 4 or more filtered captures. And spatial continuity, so every measurement, map and comparison stays anchored to the same point on the object, indefinitely. In short, accurate measurements that become shareable digital twins, allowing the original object to be studied, compared and revisited without the handling that would otherwise put it at risk. None of that would be usable in practice without software to hold it together. Our own suite CapturePic, SpectraPic and PicViewer carries a project from acquisition, through calibration, to analysis and reporting. And for institutions with large collections, DokuPic brings acquisition, calibration, quality control and archiving into one coherent digitization environment. Where this has been put to work. This isn't theoretical. Our systems and methods have been deployed at the Vatican Museums, the Louvre, the Uffizi Galleries, the Egyptian Museum, the Gran Sasso Science Institute, and the Violin Museum of Cremona, among others. Our work has been presented at Heritage Istanbul, Restauro in Ferrara, the International Symposium on Archaeometry in Turin, and at Biomedical Optics and Optical Metrology conferences in Munich spanning dermatology and textile inspection alongside heritage science. We're active participants in the Unveil Marie Skłodowska-Curie Doctoral Network and in CIE's Technical Committee on Spectral Imaging, and a recent manuscript analysis case study of ours was selected for the WIC 2026 International Case Collection. Closing. So if I can leave you with one thought, it's this: the question comes first. Whatever you need to know about a pigment, a surface, a crop, a page, we configure the imaging, the calibration, the software and the support required to actually answer it, and to leave you with evidence you can measure, compare, and return to. That's Profilocolore. Vision beyond vision.